Hi, I'm Sonic. I'm a self-taught game developer who has worked in Singapore and Japan. I've been living in Japan for the past 5 years, and I'm currently working at Arc System Works. Today, I'm going to talk about how I got into the game industry and share what is it like working in Japan. First, a little bit of my background. In 2012, I made Street Fighter Cross Mega Man. It had 2 million downloads and was backed by Capcom officially. In 2013, I graduated from NTU Electrical and Electronics Engineering. And after that, I joined Ubisoft and worked on Skull and Bones in 2014. And in 2015, I had a collaboration with GameStart Asia and made a platformer on mobile devices. So how did I figure out what I like and how did I end up working in Japan? It all started out when I was still studying biomedical informatics and engineering in Polytechnic. Back then, I don't really know what I want to do in life, so I took a course which is really diversified. There's biology, there's programming, and there's engineering. I don't even know what is programming and engineering back then. Um, And in my final semester, I took an elective that taught me how to make basic 2D games on GameMaker. I think if you don't know what you want to do in life, that's okay. But I recommend trying out different things to figure out what you want to do. Then after Polytechnic, I entered the army and had some free time whenever I booked out. I was hanging out a lot in the arcades. I like going to the arcades to play fighting games because you get to meet all kinds of people there. I met doctors, lawyers, hawkers, programmers, entrepreneurs, students, old people, young people, like all kinds of people. I think everyone just want to have fun there. As I'm interested in games at that time, I joined several fighting game and game development forums. And after picking up some sprites drawing as a hobby, I started making Street Fighter Cross Mega Man on the side for fun. It was not official at first. I worked on the game before, during, and after my national service while getting feedback from all the different friends I made along the way. And during one of my holiday, I flew to Las Vegas to participate in Evo 2011. During the tournament, I lost pretty early, but however, I had a lot of free time because of that. So I went around the venue to talk to people. And since I had the early Street Fighter and Cross Mega Man build, I tried talking to Capcom staff and pitched to several of them. And in the end, I was lucky to talk to their vice president of Capcom USA, Christian Sevenson. And after liaising with him over email for a few months, the game became official. And that's when I decided to join the game industry. Next, I'll be talking about how I ended up in Japan. After graduating, I entered Ubisoft as a game designer. I like the people there, the perks were and the environment are great. I learned a lot of game development skills there. And if you look on the screen on the top left, there's a picture of a team bonding activity. We even went to Sentosa for that. However, it just didn't feel right for me, so I left and tried going indie for a year. I started working with GameStart Asia on a promotion game app, And the characters are all borrowed from different companies in Singapore. And because of that, I get to visit different indies company and big companies, and even went to Japan to visit Arc System Works and Capcom. And one of the so during my meeting with Arc System Works, I was not able to get the IP from them at that time, but at the end of the meeting, the CEO, Mr. Kidoka, told me if I'm ever interested in looking for a job, I can contact him through email. And that's how I end up working in Arc System Works. And other reasons why I want to work in Japan includes being able to experience different season and visit different places during my holiday. I also tried going to USA and other countries before deciding on Japan. So why did I choose Arc System Works? Based on my past experience on Street Fighter Cross Mega Man, I like working on games in a small teams. And at the same time, I also like working on IP that I like. And in Arc System Works, I'm able to do that. One of my favorite game designer is also in Arc System Works. That's Ishiwatari-san. He's the artist, game designer, music composer, and he even did voice over for the first QT year. What is it like working in Japan? Working in Japan means like you get to eat Japanese food every day. There's lots of places to visit. There's hot springs and there's lots of overtime. Working in Japan is very different from Singapore. For example, in Singapore, the job description is pretty well defined. If you are a game designer, you work on game GDD, game design document. And in Japan, if you're a game designer, your work can go from publishing to script writing to translation to scheduling to camera design and game balancing. I do prefer to work in multiple areas, so that's why I'm here. Okay, next I will play the recent Guilty Gear Strive trailer for our DLC character. Despite being the game planner, I did the lighting and camera scripting for the throws and overdrive at the end of the video. Let's have a look at the trailer.
Subject file 2534. Speech level intelligence confirmed. Preparing to capture.
It's not a big deal.
What's that? You want to know what's in this coffin? Aliens? Don't be ridiculous. Let me explain. Huh? That can't be right. Plan F. Bring it on out. Sorry, haven't taught my buddy punches. 51 seconds. That's a good number. You fixing to start a war there, Hoss? You're up. You with me?
To see I'm blazing, still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't need you. My time is right.
What did I do in Guilty Gear Strive? On the red team, I worked on battle planning, boss AI, and coming up with special moves for characters. I also created some automation tools to help reduce repetitive tasks at work. Recently, I'm mostly working on camera movements and working on teaching materials to share some of the knowledge with the rest of the team. The task I'm most happy with uh, so far on Strive is Chips Overdrive, Bunky Messiah. As you can see on the bottom left of the screen, I mix and match different attacks he have in the game to create this overdrive. This is one of the few moves that I made that got approved instantly. And during Corona, this is what my workstation looked like. I have two monitors for Unreal Engine and scripting, and I have the projector to check on what the animations and motions look like on big screen. On weekend, I use the projector as a movie theater. Next, I will talk about what advice I have for people who are interested in working here. Learn Japanese. I started with almost no knowledge on Japanese language. It is hard to get my points across, and on top of that, there's a cultural difference between Japanese and Singapore. Japanese tend to be not straightforward in communication because they try to be polite. Try before you buy or visit before you move. I think before committing yourself in moving to another country to work, I think it's important to have a holiday there or take up a short-term job there before committing yourself. Know what food to bring over from Singapore or learn how to cook. I think as Singaporeans, we are spoiled with food variety. I mean, back when I was working in Singapore, I eat almost different kind of food every single day. I like I you can go from Japanese to Indian food to Chinese food, Japanese, how many, all kinds of food. And if you learn how to cook, I think that will help a lot. Another advice I have is to live in a share house if that's possible. By doing that, you get to talk to more Japanese outside of work and to understand their culture faster. On the slide, you can see some of the food that I learned how to make during COVID. There's roast pork, chicken rice, prata, and carrot cake. Other tips for getting into the industry: be good at what you do, prove your passion. So if you are an artist, have your portfolio ready, and if you want to be a game designer, maybe make some mini games or personal project on the side. Figure out what suits you, what your employer wants, and find the common points. If you can bring up those points, I think that will help your interview a lot. Don't be afraid to have a side hustle. So if you're a student, you can always make a game on the side, and if it becomes successful, you can go into the game industry. Or if you decide to change job, try to make a game before you commit yourself. In Arc System work, a value we look out for is konjo, which is something like grit or strive at what you do. So the next slide I will share a very important tip, which is buy Guilty Gear Strive. It's now available on Steam, PS4, and PlayStation 5. Thanks for listening. You can connect with me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I hope this was helpful.
Hey, Sonic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go into the questions. Yeah, I think we have one question from social media. Hold on a moment. It's quite good. Do you have to learn Japanese to like a super polished level to do your job? Like which, because the Japanese language you have the different levels, right? At which level was your um written and verbal?
Uh, can you repeat the question again?
So which level was your Japanese like language at for you to like feel
Mm,
comfortable enough to go over?
okay, I didn't have N5 or N anything. I only took up a Japanese elective in university for about one semester, and I think it's lower than N5 at that time. But at the start of my job, I was more working on Steam and publishing sites, so there was less communication.
Hmm.
And after 2 years, I got N3, and right now I haven't been studying to get N1 yet, but I'm trying to get maybe end of this year or early next year.
2021 goal. Get N1 by end of the year. All right. Okay, hold on now. Let me just run through because we have some questions from Discord as well. So someone was saying, seeing your background was originally engineering, would you consider yourself a self-taught dev, which you already answered earlier? You consider yourself a self-taught
Mm,
dev. So can you share what's your learning journey like, which I think you covered as well? And I think the main question is what kind of skills or knowledge do you have to pick up on your own to meet the needs of your
mm,
jobs at firstly like Ubisoft, your previous one, and Arc System Works as well.
mm, I think if did the person who asked the question, is he an engineer or something?
I not sure. He
Okay.
didn't specify.
Okay, if you're an engineer, you do have some programming background, so the logics in programming does help in game design. Uh, like you understand what the programmers are coming from, but if you are coming from scratch, uh, like if you're coming from science or business school, then I'm not sure how difficult that is. But from an engineering point of view, I think many of the skills can carry over.
Okay. No, he said he's not an engineer. He was just curious about what self-taught devs will have to learn. But I think you provided a very good perspective from an engineer. Okay, so here's a second question. Sharing more about what you had learned or adapt to with regards to cultural
Mm,
differences and communication styles working in Japan as compared to like
mm,
in Singapore. So
mm.
different working style in Japan and Singapore, like what do you have to adapt to
What do
or
I have to
learn?
add there?
Mm.
How do you put it? I think in Japan, you need to convince a lot of people. How to put it? Uh, how, to, mm, how do you? Oh, can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
Okay, so like cultural differences in Japan versus Singapore, right?
Mm,
What are some of the things that you had to learn or adapt to when you move over to Japan to work?
mm, okay. So just now I spoke about them not being straightforward. So, for example, sometimes if you propose something, and if your colleague don't agree with you, uh, it usually means no. Like
Uh,
instead of telling you a straight no, they will tell you, maybe you can improve on this, but uh, that means no usually.
okay, so
But
yeah,
it's a very case to case basis, and you need to understand what kind of personality they have and guess from that.
okay, so it's still dependent from person to person lah, but generally they are not very straightforward
Mm,
when they do not like something lah.
mm. Like
Okay.
even if not at work, like outside friends, if you ask them, do you want to go to this place this weekend? Sometimes they give you, oh yes, I want to go. But if they tell you things like, not sure, I maybe I need to study or something. If they tell things like that, means no.
So they're trying to find an excuse lah, don't want to go, then don't want to
Yes,
say
yeah,
also
and
lah.
it
Okay.
happens pretty often here, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Okay, got it. So yeah, I think the last one would be the Japanese mindset or work culture that you thought was interesting, like something maybe that they think of usually or is in their thought process that game developers in Singapore will probably never think of it about. Like yeah. So like something that Japanese developers have in their thought process that Singaporean developers do not think about. Mm.
It's a difficult question. Something that I think they are very careful in their thought process. Like if you if you bring up an idea, they will look at all the different problems that it might arise and bring out all the different points. Instead of like dwelling into the idea itself. Mm,
Was that all? Just
yeah,
want to
yeah,
confirm. Okay,
yeah,
okay. Yeah, we have a casual question like, what is the one fruit from Singapore that you miss the most? Because the person happens to live overseas as well, so he's asking the
One,
question.
what is the food I miss the most? 難しい. Maybe char kway teow.
Char kway teow. Okay. So earlier you mentioned that you make food at home, right? Have you
Yeah.
cooked char kway teow at home before?
No. Like they don't even have kway teow here, so
So you have to make completely from scratch.
yeah, depends on the food. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we have another question. How open Japanese game companies to hiring foreigners? Like, is there specific skill sets that they look at or are more sought after, or does it all vary by company? I think one of the things that you mentioned earlier was like the basic is to at least be able to speak Japanese, right? But is there anything else other than that?
Like if you can speak Japanese and you have the skills that they are looking for, I think that'll be very easy to get hired. For example, for fighting games, if you can implement rollbacks, netcode or something, I think that's what company are looking out for nowadays.
Okay.
Like it depends on the game that you want to work on. Like if the game is not doesn't even have network, so and you're a network programmer, so that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So applying to what the game company actually needs as well, lah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so somebody empathized and said cannot find cockles overseas. Cannot find.
I don't need. Actually, I don't need seafood, so that's okay.
Just plain char kway teow
Yeah,
without.
yeah.
All right. So we have a question. What are your inspiration for like the moves and animation that you oversee, you see, like or you create?
Like I try to look at a lot of animes and movies. I watch a lot of Netflix over the weekend, and like if you try to so if you are developing some overdrive for the game, when you're watching anime, if something is similar, then maybe you can take a video of it or remember the link so that you can refer to it when you are working on it.
Okay, hold on a moment. Yeah, we have another question. Are there any other game IPs in Japan that you would love to work on apart from Guilty Gear and other IP? Sensitive question.
Personally, I would like to work on Mega Man again if that's possible. Or Rockman or how to put it? Hey, what else? Even my own IP in future. If other companies' IP. For now, Mega Man.
Okay, for now, Mega Man. All right. So hold on a moment now, just checking on all the different questions. So hold on now. Yep, I think we're good with the questions. Just double check again. Oh yes, so I think we can maybe probably end off with like what's next in your plan. Is there any new exciting updates that you are able to share with us, if any?
Watch out for the next DLC character next month.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
I can't share who is it though. Yeah.
So it's super secret stuff. But yes, so we'll
Mm.
look out for the DLC.
Right.
Okay, so yes, I think we are done with the Q&A. Oh wait, we have, I think somebody is still typing. Hold on a moment.
Mm.
We still have some time, so let's try one more question. Okay. Oh no, I think. Okay, the person stopped typing. Let's go. All right.
Right.
All right. So yes, I think we are good to go. Thank you so much, Sonic. Thank you so much for your time and sharing
Thank
with us
you.
about your journey and as well as your experiences working on the games that you work on. So yep,
Thanks
thank
for
you so
inviting.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Stay safe in Japan.
You too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.